Despite all of his impressive accomplishments so far, President Trump is still being asked to prove himself over and over again. His supporters are patting themselves on the back, but his critics are looking for even the slightest hint that he might fail. Forget the fact that the president failing is bad for the whole country, they'd cut off their own noses to spite their face. Somehow people just can't fathom that someone with no political background can come in and do a better job as president than the generations of Washington insiders who've been making a mess of things for decades, but he is. Yes, there are always going to be dissenters who want him to fail on principle, but even they will reap the benefits of a safer country and better economy. That's kinda how it works, the rain falls equally on the just and the unjust in this country. When asked what he thought about President Trump, Daniel Lawrence Whitney, also known as Larry the Cable Guy, touched on some of the reasons that he thinks Donald Trump will succeed as President of the United States. There are a number of unconventional things about our current POTUS, but if we look at it objectively, we have to admit that the man likes to win. I mean, he really likes to win. If anybody had any doubt that he would do what was best for the country just because he thought it was the right thing to do, that drive to succeed should patch up any holes in his resolve. Here are a few of the stats about how the general public thinks that President Trump is doing in office. Via New York Post. Approximately 57% of voters say that Trump is doing about as well as they expected. Meanwhile, his approval ratings far outclass those of Congress, which has just a 29% approval rating. That's a nonpartisan statistic. And 31% approve of Democrats in Congress, while 32% approve of Republicans in Congress. The most unpopular figure in American politics remains House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, D-Calif, with 19% who feel positively about her in any way against 44% who feel negatively about her. The Democratic Party's negatives double up the Republican Party's. 52% say that Trump's chaotic style is unique to this administration and suggests real problems. But the American people largely agree with Trump's agenda. 86% say that a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government while the people have borne the cost. 53% say that the news media and other elites are exaggerating the problems with the Trump administration because they are uncomfortable and threatened with the kind of change that Trump represents. This reflects what many of us heard during the election about why people plan to vote for Trump. They wanted someone who would look out for the little man. American politics were dangerously close to becoming locked up by a ruling class, and that desperately needed to be busted apart before it was too far gone. Those who hold political office are supposed to represent and stand up for the people, not use them to execute their own agenda, and the latter was happening more and more. So will President Trump do well? I guess time alone will tell, but he seems to be off to a pretty good start.